It is a record year for illegal immigrants. 20,000 have crossed the Channel so far this year. That is a 50% increase. 13 boats arrived yesterday. 879 illegals came to Britain. That's about, 4 migrant hotels in one day? But who is coming across? So we all know that there could be rapists, paedophiles, murderers and terrorists. But the left like to scoff at you and call you a racist when you say things like that. Well, show them what I'm about to show you then. Because one of the people smugglers that we've been tracking initially just started sharing stuff like this yesterday. Now, depressingly, that's normal stuff. Boat crossings, young Middle Eastern-looking men on the march across Europe before invading Britain. Well, then, that same person shared these videos. If we just pause it there, because I think what you'll be able to see in the top right of your screen is the black flag of ISIS. So that appears to be an ISIS propaganda video. He then goes on to share videos of brutal executions, people being shot in the head at point-blank range. It's sickening, and for understandable reasons, we have decided not to broadcast that. But here is the rest of what one people smuggler was posting. So these are the people bringing illegal migrants to Britain. There you go. I mean, it looks to me like they might be ISIS fanatics. How many terrorists is this Labour government letting into Britain? Let's get the thoughts of my panel. Got GBNews presenter Alex Armstrong, political commentator Esther Kraku, and of course journalist Jonathan Liss. So Alex, yet again there, it appears some quite devastating stuff from the old human trafficker brigade. The black flag of ISIS proudly displayed on their social media and execution videos.
Yeah, I mean, do you know what, Patrick? I wish I could say I was surprised. But like you, when you saw that video, you probably weren't surprised. You probably knew this has been happening all along. People coming to this country that hate us, that want to cause harm to British people. I'm not saying they all are. I'm saying that there probably will be one or two of them at least that are coming over here doing that. I mean, you only got to look at the statistics, haven't we, to see how many incarcerations there are from foreign nationals. I don't know how many of them will be illegal migrants, but this should send shockwaves up and down the country.
Yeah. So that guy was bringing people illegally to Britain over the weekend and possibly yesterday as well. We can tell that from his social media presence. We've been in communication with him for a period of time as well. So we know that's happening. And at the same time, he's posting ISIS videos and execution videos. And it just makes you wonder as to how many terrorists are coming across the Channel.
It's not really surprising that someone who's willing to traffic people and risk their lives in the Channel doesn't have seem to have the most upstanding morals. But even taking the emotion out of it and, this horde of people coming across on boats and the whole imagery around it, you have to admit on a basic level that if you have porous borders, you are leaving your native population at risk of people, however tiny a minority they may be, of the people that are entering the country, of people that have ill intentions. And the bigger question isn't the fact that they're just coming here and many of them are trying to claim asylum dubiously or any of that. It's about the most vulnerable in society, women and children, the elderly, for example, people that are not naturally primed to protect themselves. What do they do when these people are infiltrated into their communities? And you have neighbourhoods that are saying, actually, we have a heightened sense of concern. Yeah. Not because we're racist, but because we don't know who these people are.
The other dimension to this is how do most people who get to Britain come to Britain? They find a human trafficker on TikTok, and people will have looked at that human trafficker's content, seen the ISIS stuff, and decided, he's my guy. Jonathan, and that really does make me question whether or not we are just allowing ISIS to flood Britain.
Well, as Esther says, people smugglers are, by and large, dreadful, exploitative human beings who will exploit human misery for profit. That is why I say week after week on this programme that the way to smash the smuggling gangs is to smash their monopoly. And the way you can do that is by actually offering a safe and legal alternative through the government, because we know there are going to be people who will be coming here, whether we like it or not, and the best thing to do is actually to either process them in France or both processing them in France.
Does it not
and
worry
also
you, the
provide
ISIS connection?
But no, look,
That's
of course it worries me, Patrick.
That doesn't worry you.
And
That man who's posting that ISIS content and the stuff that we weren't able to show was utterly horrendous. People being shot in the back of the head at point blank.
I don't think we're disagreeing on that. I don't think we're disagreeing on the fact that these are abhorrent people that have no place here and they shouldn't be bringing people here. I don't think we disagree that the system is horrible. The question is, what do we do about it? And for many people...
Well, you can start by nicking him.
Well, they're looking at a government that doesn't know what it's doing. So while I take your point, I think the frustration that people get whenever we talk about, we've processed them and, offer them safe and legal routes, this people smuggling gang business, it's the same as the drug business. We've spent billions of pounds trying to tackle the supply and say, yes, we're going to infiltrate people's cities.
We should legalise drugs as well.
But again, it doesn't work.
Right.
It's about the demand as opposed to the supply.
Yeah.
If people knew that once they come to if people knew that once they come to Britain, they have via these routes, there is no way they're going to be allowed to stay. That is how you smash the gangs.
Okay, it's less for me about smashing the gangs so much and looking at that in isolation there and saying, is that not pretty cast iron proof that ISIS, Islamic State and other jihadi terrorist organisations are involved in channel crossing?
Yeah, 100%, Patrick. I think without a doubt. My concern is that there's possibly one or two of them may already be here, maybe more, Patrick.
Yeah.
And
look at the impending attack on the Israeli embassy.
Exactly, right?
One of whom came across on the boats.
Well, this is it.
By that Iranian national.
This is what I'm going to say, right? There's only one way we can be sure and we can be safe, and that is by deporting all of them. Anyone that has come here illegally, we should deport them. This is not a joke. And the left are playing politics with this.
Alex.
But we're putting people's lives in danger. And as soon as one incident happens, one is too many. There's only one way we can deal with this. It's deport anyone that's come here illegally.
It is not a crime.
It is. It is a crime to enter this country illegally.
Not. It is not a crime to seek asylum in this country. There are no legal ways to do it. Almost none. There are almost no legal ways to do it.
Hang on a minute. You could just apply for a legal visa, couldn't you?
You can't seek asylum outside the UK.
Yeah, but you don't have to seek asylum, you see.
Well, exactly. If you take that as well, because what people do is they come here. What people do, Patrick, is they come here legally and then they overstay their visa and claim asylum that way. And you take that as well.
Well, if they were trying to seek asylum, they would have stayed in the safest country they landed in, which is not the United Kingdom.
Well, we've been through this so many times. It's not what happens. It's not what happens. It's never been the case. It's nowhere in international law is that written.
How many people have to die? Seriously, how many people have to die before we get action?
Well, quite. People are dying. The government should be stepping in and actually accepting that there is a problem, and the government should be setting up these visa processing, asylum processing in France.
Over the last couple of weeks on this show, I have shown people cast iron proof of AR-15 assault rifles in possession of the human traffickers are using. I've shown them all of that. I've now exposed an ISIS connection there that's pretty unequivocal. I mean, if this isn't a national emergency, then nothing is.
Yeah.
But what has to happen? Seriously, does someone come over here and just kill a load of people in the name of ISIS and we just have to accept that?
That's what will happen. That's what will happen, isn't it, Patrick? And then it will be too late. Because by that point, British people are already dead. And you've got the Liberal Democrats out yesterday calling for a Cobra meeting on the heat wave. I mean, what a joke. The political class have become in this country.
There are people.
Let's just deport the illegal migrants. Let's get them out of here. Let's stop them from coming because they won't come back when we start.
Alex, this is madness. You agree, Alex, you agree that there is a large number of asylum seekers who are legitimate asylum seekers.
No, I don't believe it's a large
number. You don't believe there are any. You don't believe there are any genuine refugees.
I believe
the government has approved 75% of.
Yes, well, I mean, we look at why they're approving. You're going to go look at the ECHR.
That's nothing to do with it.
The men coming over on these boats are economic migrants. That's why they're getting jobs the minute they land.
They are being judged as the majority being judged as legitimate.
We had today the other big news of the day, and we're going to be returning to this at 10:30 when it's all over tomorrow's newspaper front pages. Was of course the welfare U-turn that Keir Starmer has done, and so in the House of Commons today we had MPs quibbling over PIP and universal credit, whilst we've got millions of people on the take by the state, and you've got MPs there making all of these cases, and then eventually the government U-turns are just absolutely naffle. So we just plough ahead. We've wasted weeks on this, loads of political capital. It's all done, massive fallout for absolutely no result. We're in the same position as benefits before. Meanwhile, we've got Islamic State helping with the Channel migrant crossing. So is Starmer just fiddling while Britain burns, do you think?
Oh, he's asleep at the wheel. But, I mean, this problem it's beyond the competence, however limited that is, of Starmer and the government. I mean, there's nothing that can be said, not in Parliament, not here, not amongst the public, that's going to actually spur this government into action. It's very clear on that front. I mean, his humiliation on the small boats crossing, I think is probably going to be the biggest of his premiership. But I don't think that he's particularly bothered. This is not someone that's looking for the reef. I actually think he hates what he's doing. He looks pretty miserable. He's not getting anything done. I mean, he's trotting out his MPs to talk about wins that are not actually wins or are just virtually non-existent. The economy is tanking. I'm sorry, the least of his concerns, quite as scary as it is for us, is 20,000 men, predominantly men of fighting age, crossing the channel from God knows where. So this whole
it's not an army.
Hold on.
More of them have come over here from the
fighting age.
I said they are fighting. They're not old men. They're not with walking sticks.
Like you say, they're working age.
So you don't think it's an invasion?
No, of course not.
What does an invasion look like, Jonathan?
Well, I mean, the Nazis, maybe. The battlers.
Well, we went to Calais on D-Day, and we've had more people cross the Channel to this country than we sent over to Calais.
It's just not rhetoric that I recognise at all.
The point I was making is the idea that Keir Starmer is somehow going to prioritise spending more of British money on processing people that most of whom have no claim to be in Britain is laughable. Like, it's ridiculous. This is not going to get solved. It's only going to get worse. You're going to have some scandal in a few months about some next Abdulaziz pouring acid on a woman and her two kids.
Or another 7-7. You're going to end up with another 7-7.
And it's sad.
Everyone's going to scratch their heads. Oh, how did it happen? I wonder how this happened. Well, maybe if you went on TikTok and saw that there's a bloke over there who's posting ISIS beheading videos and shooting people in the back of their head, and he's helping bring people into Britain. Oh, shall we put two and two together and wonder how on earth these jihadi terrorists got
the majority of people are already here. They've been grown, they've homegrown.
In Britain, where a convicted sexual offender who cannot be allowed to sit in a church by himself was granted asylum after being rejected twice.
And Jonathan said there that what I said was rubbish because most of them are homegrown. But you think we haven't got a problem with integration, do you, Jonathan?
I'm not saying we don't have a problem with terrorism in this country.
Oh, right.
I'm not saying we don't.
Terrorism.
I'm not. If you look at the people, if you look at the attacks, and by the way, so many times we see these attacks. It turns out not to be Islamist at all, by the way. But you have, you're not going to solve this problem by stopping people coming on the boats because there are a lot of people in this country who obviously are a risk. No one would deny that.
Can I just also point out, just to supplement that, one in 4 people convicted of terrorist offences since 1998 have been of an asylum background. So there's no link there.
Right.
None at all.
Okay. Exactly. Well, we just all have to suck it up, do we? We just all have to sit. We just have to sit here and let it wash over us. Look, like I said, next we are going to be doing the whole Lucy Letby thing. There were big developments in that case there. And at 10:30, we did it at 9 p.m. I didn't want to overkill it. At 10:30, I'm going to be doing all the welfare and benefits U-turns because it'll be on all the front pages. But for me, I make no apologies for this. What's going on in the English Channel is existential to Britain, as far as I'm concerned. It just really, really winds me up that nothing seems to be done. There's an ISIS video there. See if anything's done about it. I suspect not. Anyway.